power up. We broke the number 60. We're now at 61 power ups in a row. This is awesome. I'm telling you guys, this has been a lot of fun. It's really a lot of fun for me to pause in my morning each morning. I've usually already done at least one serious G work session by the time we do these calls, but it's fun for me to pause, sort of circle the wagons and pause and just be here with my students, be here with the guys who I know who are the most dedicated. Because a lot of people are in the campus, but not everyone shows up for these calls. And it's only the students who are most dedicated, who are most committed towards receiving the full benefit of this campus, who are the most committed towards making the most amount of money to develop their skills, to increase their capacity, to provide value in the world, who show up to these calls. So I'm always really happy to have these calls, and I'm always really happy to do them because I know the people who I'm speaking to are going to listen. And they're the kinds of people who are seriously committed to becoming the best version of themselves. And those are always the kind of people that I'll be happy to talk to and share my inner thoughts, right? I don't share the same level of insights inside of the chats as I do here on these calls. The calls are where I really share my true insights, my most powerful guiding principles that will help you achieve what you're looking for. So it looks like the audio is working. It looks like we are good to go. So let's dive in and talk about adrenaline. Now, I've talked about dopamine. I've talked about testosterone. Today, we're talking about adrenaline, and we're going to do so very quickly. There's a few other concepts I want to hit on before we move on with the end of the call. But there's an interesting aspect to adrenaline that most people don't pay attention to. As copywriting students, as people who are looking to develop one of the most nuanced skills in the world, that is human nature, human persuasion, you writing persuasively, encouraging people to take action. It's a nuanced skill. There's a lot that goes into it. It's an extremely valuable, rewarding, and fun skill, but it's a nuanced one, and it requires a deep level of focus and concentration to assimilate, and a deep level of focus and concentration to create and execute well on it, right? So we've talked a lot about how to focus. There's a huge section inside of that first day that talks about how to structure your time, or how to structure your work sessions so that you can focus the best, by removing distractions, by putting on binaural beats, by setting a timer, by dedicating a specific time, by teaching yourself over time to return your focus to the work you're doing. You know, a lot of people meditate and they do things like practice developing their focus. I recommend you guys do G work sessions to do that, because it's the same thing. You're still learning how to control your focus, refocus it on the thing that's actually going to help you. But the cool thing is at the end of the meditation, at the end of the G work session, you have something more to show than just a few minutes passed on your clock or your timer. You usually have a new skill that you've acquired, or you usually have new money inside your bank account as a result, right? So that's why I recommend you guys do that instead of meditation. However, I do want to talk about the role of adrenaline when it comes to focus, right? There's a lot of things that go into focus. There's a lot of elements there, and a lot of people geek out a whole bunch around like the actual mechanics of it on like a neurochemical level. And you don't really need to, right? There's not a lot of value to do so. The top performers in the world aren't geeks about this stuff. They just are naturally good at this, or stumbled upon something that works, and they just keep doing that thing that works. And ultimately, you have control over yourself, whether or not you have adrenaline, whether or not you have dopamine, whether or not your testosterone is raging. You have the ability to, on command, create the state that you need to in order to focus. But I'm going to tell you, I want to raise your awareness onto how this works, so that you can then pay attention to it in your own self and take control of the process, so you can focus and perform at a higher level. So we live in a world where almost everyone is running away from difficulty. Almost everyone is running away from stress. And the problem is, we are not designed to live stress-free. We are designed to be at war, to go hunt woolly mammoths and fight saber-toothed tigers and battle off like opposing tribes, or conquer this city. That's what we were designed on, like a biochemical and from an evolutionary standpoint. That is what we are built and engineered to do. A lot of people avoid stress. They avoid that feeling of difficulty. And what happens is they end up running away from adrenaline. And adrenaline is one of the most powerful forces to help you focus and to help you move forward with purpose. So it's not enough just to be nice, calm, happy, relaxed, peaceful all the time. It's very powerful and very stimulating if you can trigger an adrenaline rush inside of yourself. Now, there's a lot of ways to do this. There's a lot of ways to trigger adrenaline. There's a lot of ways to trigger adrenaline that allows you to then turn around and work. Like obviously, you can go jump out of a plane, and that's going to trigger some significant adrenaline. You focus a lot when when you jump out of a plane. I can let you know from personal experience. However, there are other ways you can trigger adrenaline in a manageable dose that will help you when you sit down to work at a G work session. Right. One of those is physical activities. Right. If you hop down and do a set of push-ups to failure or close to failure, you will trigger a release of adrenaline. If you swing kettlebells like I like to do, if you do 10 swings, you will trigger and increase the adrenaline in your system, which helps you focus. Adrenaline helps you focus. I mean, think about it. In war, massive adrenaline a massive adrenaline dump that forces you to focus on a life and death scenario. Time changes when you have a huge adrenaline dump. Adrenaline dump. That's a fun tongue twister. If you can trigger a small scale adrenaline dump, you will be able to focus better during your workout session. So physical activity is one of them. Cold exposure is one. Like you can geek out, do cold showers. You don't really need to. There's nothing magical about them, but it can trigger release in adrenaline. There are specific artists, musical artists that if you listen to their music, it will dump some adrenaline into you. You can get pumped up and amped up because of it. Also, consuming caffeine will also increase your adrenaline. And what that adrenaline does is that you have to have some adrenaline in order to focus. Without adrenaline, focus doesn't exist. It stacks on top of adrenaline. So, but the best way to have adrenaline is to view the work you're doing as war. If you can reframe and label the work that you're doing to study, to reach out to clients, to perform your sales stuff, if you can view it as war, as a hunting raid or a raid on the enemy tribe, if you can view it as that, which is how I do it, I mentally color all the work I do as war. I can color it all as hunting, as risk, as adventure. If you can mentally change that, then it will naturally occur that when you sit down to war, that the adrenaline is triggered immediately and you're able to focus much better, right? Focus happens over time. Usually you have to sit down and kind of get into that flow state. It takes a few minutes, but you can get there faster, more predictably, if you can trigger an adrenaline dump right beforehand by doing some push-ups, by listening to some aggressive music, perhaps, by telling yourself out loud, I'm about to sit down and go to war for myself and for my bloodline. If you tell yourself that and you frame that inside of your mind and create sort of mental images and videos of you going to war and this being a war, it will trigger adrenaline, which will help you focus, which will help you execute at a higher level, which will help you make more money. The highest paid people in the world, the highest performers, from the billionaires all the way down, they all use adrenaline. They all view their life as war, as conquest, as competition, and it triggers that adrenaline. So as you guys go about your day, as you sit down to do your work today, find ways, experiment with ways to trigger adrenaline, right? A simple AC/DC song, a set of extra push-ups, and telling yourself that you're about to sit down to war will go a long ways to help you focus during your G work sessions, learn faster, move through the boot camp, and win in the Legion competitions and earn more money. So take this information, start triggering adrenaline in your day-to-day life. Watch your ability to focus increase, and watch your bank account grow as well. This has been a good call. We will talk with you guys. I will talk with you guys again sometime tomorrow, probably sometime within the next 24 hours. Until then, let's use this information. Let's go out and take some money. I will talk with you guys then.